Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates releasing an op-ed today voicing his concerns over the future of artificial intelligence, saying that the risks of AI are real but manageable. Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley joining us now for more on this. And Dan, I know you've been digging into this op-ed, but one of the warnings that he's focusing on this time is how AI could potentially influence the elections, upcoming elections worldwide, and what exactly that fallout could look like.
That's right, Shauna. This is an op-ed where Bill Gates basically says, there's fear but solutions. So let's just go over his warnings for first of all. He does talk about the broader existential threat of AI. People have brought this up before, that it could, should we develop AI that can replace people, things along those lines. But he focuses more on the real problems that we're facing right now. And as you said, chief among them are potential disinformation and misinformation ahead of elections and during election season. He also goes over the fact that it's easier to launch attacks on people and governments. As far as that disinformation and misinformation side of things goes, he also talks about people's jobs. While this isn't necessarily the Terminator, AI is going to be the end of us all discussion. It is a discussion as to the fact that there are, frankly, some jobs that will be replaced by AI, and this is something that needs to be studied and looked at more closely. He also talks about the inherent biases we see with AI. These are created using algorithms by people, and people's own biases, whether intentional or not, go into these algorithms, and that's how we get certain outputs, denying people loans or keeping people from getting jobs, things along those lines. Then there's also the idea that AI, ChatGPT, generative AI, will be abused by students in schools, and that those then will become a way for them to more or less cheat down the line.
So there are concerns out there, but it's not all negative. What are some reasons that he's optimistic about AI?
Yeah, so while he does go over these kinds of fears, he does couch them. And look, we've seen this kind of disruption before, right? He goes over the internet, even the car, how that changed people's lives. And he says that this isn't going to be akin to the Industrial Revolution, but it will see changes. So, when it comes to that disinformation and misinformation, altered photos, altered voices, things like that, he says that while generative AI can do that, there's also AI that can detect that. So it's not necessarily a one-way street. He also goes over the fact that there will be job losses and says that, look, this is something the government needs to work on to ensure that folks aren't left behind and that they're able to be to learn new skills and work in this world. It's also worth pointing out that others have said that AI will open up new jobs. So not necessarily just be an end-to-end job killer, but bring new jobs about. When it comes to those biases, he says that this is something that government also needs to look at, and that the kinds of algorithms that are put out there need to be studied more closely. And then finally, as far as when students having trouble learning or using this as a way to get around learning, he said, look, that was something that the calculator was being accused of when that first came out, as well as the internet in general. Look, I'm not going to lie. I may or may not have cribbed some notes from the internet to write a paper in middle school. I'm not, going to admit to that. I don't know what the statute of limitations is, but that's kind of what he's going on over here. That it's not necessarily, just a negative or a positive. It's going to be a mix, and there are ways to deal with this before there are past precedents that can be applied.
Important issues there brought up by Bill Gates. And Dan, you're not alone. I think it's safe to say at this point, we're 20 years removed from this. We can talk about the fact that we did use the internet to help us a little bit in school growing up, right, Dan? Thanks so much.